Hey, what's up, my ninja? Shinobi here with a Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls video for you. Super excited that the game is finally out. People have been having a lot of fun with it. I've been having a lot of fun with it. I did a lot of traveling with the Reaper of Souls thing, the event that I went to in LA with Blizzard, and I didn't get to play very much on the 25th, and I got to play a little bit on the 26th, but I have about 12 hours playtime in Reaper of Souls Live now. I played in the beta for about 3 or 4 months, so I had a good scoop on what I was going to do in the future, but I want to show you guys what you can do in about 12 hours playtime. A lot of people, they feel like, you know, I just hit level 70. What is it that I do? Do I do rifts? Do I do bounties? Do I do old farming runs like I used to do? What's going to help me get the most legendaries? What's going to help me gear my character up the most right now? So what I want to do is talk about a couple steps that you should take into making your character a little bit better, and then a little bit better, and then a lot better, and then a lot better. So the first thing you want to do is you want to do raring up. Now, raring up is essentially you're going to do bounties, and you're going to collect any rares that you find on the ground, any rares that you get through bounties, and you're going to replace those old level 60 gear that, you know, is not going to be cutting it anymore. You know, you're going to get a huge toughness increase with almost every item that you can get, and you're going to get a big DPS increase on specific items. So you want to take full advantage of that and collect those rares as much as possible. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do your stats and stuff when we look at my character after I talk about the first intro stuff. Like I said, you want to be doing bounties. So why is it that you want to do bounties right away, right off the bat? Why is it the best thing to do? Well, one, you have to do bounties to collect the Rift Keystone fragments anyways, so you can start doing rifts later. But also, there are specific legendaries that drop from specific bounties in specific acts that you want to collect along the way. For some examples of that would be the Gloves of Worship, the Shrine Gloves to make your shrines last 10 minutes. You have the Royal Ring of Grandeur, which also is very good. It's really good for, you know, putting set pieces together, which is something you're going to want for Endgame, which I'll talk about later on in the video. So things like that, there are specific legendaries you can get by doing bounties, and I'm going to leave a link in the description below that'll tell you which items come from which bounties and which acts. So that'll maybe help you out just a little bit, and you can go take a look at that link. Also, there's a couple strategies behind doing bounties, and I'm going to tell you both of them. So the first strategy you can do are split bounties. So essentially what that is you get a group of 4, you go on normal difficulty, and you go through and complete all the bounties, and you complete it in Act 1, and they complete it in Act 2, and Act 3, and Act 4, and you kind of just complete them all at the same time, and you do them really quickly, and then you get a lot of bounty bags, or caches as they call them now. You know, you want to go through and get a bunch of those as much as possible, and you're going to be able to get those Gloves of Worship, the Royal Ring of Grandeur, all that kind of stuff. In Act 5, I believe you get a weapon for a Demon Hunter, so you know, this is what I heard. I didn't really look it up because I already have a weapon. So, but yeah, so you can pretty much go through these acts and these bounties and do that stuff, and you're gonna, you know, get those items first. That's kind of like step 1. You want to go through and do that. Now, step 2. You want to focus on playing higher difficulty, for instance, Torment difficulty. One reason why I don't really agree too much with the split bounty method, even though it does give you a lot of legendaries per hour, you know, and you could do that if you wanted to. It is a viable way of getting legendaries and everything, but if you play anything lower than Torment 1, you can't get set pieces. So, you know, if I'm playing Diablo 3, if I'm playing Reaper of Souls, and this is just me, it may not be you. If you want to do the bounty, split bounty thing, you can do that. But for me, I want an opportunity every single monster that I kill, every single chest that I open, every single thing that I do to get those set pieces, to get that end game. Because sure, getting some mediocre legendaries right now could be a good thing because, oh, look at me, I upgraded my DPS by 3% or something like that. I'm looking for the best of the best. That's what I'm going for. But if you're looking for some quick farming legendaries, some ways of just maxing out your gear just a little bit more right off the bat, then doing the split bounties is a good way for you. Now, if you want to go the Torment 1 route, playing on Torment 1 is the best bet for you. It's the fastest way to do it. You're going to go through and kill things very quickly. Now, once you do complete the bounties and you get the items that you wanted, Then you're going to go into rifts, because rifts are very good for multiple reasons. None is it is very high mob density in there. There's a lot of chests you can find. You can find the goblin level run, which is what I've found a few times already with playing with viewers, which was really awesome. I didn't get any legendaries from it, but you can get a lot of legendaries from finding the goblin level, which is something that I think a lot of people would really love to do. And also you can get the Forgotten Souls, which you can re-roll some of those legendaries that you found through bounties and try and make them better. And you can also find good legendaries in there as well too. And I feel like there are specific legendaries that only drop in rifts that I've been talking with players, and they kind of feel the same way about that. And kind of like the best of the best gear is going to be dropping in rifts. That's what we've kind of like come up with a consumption for, because I've already found one piece of Marauder set, which is the Demon Hunter set piece, and that was in a rift, and I've heard other people say similar stories. So don't know for sure yet, but if it makes sense considering the whole tier thing with the rifts and the ladder things coming out in the future. It makes sense that the best items in the game would drop in rifts, but we don't know for 100% yet. Maybe in the future we will, and I'll leave an annotation. Let's get right into the game right now and show you exactly a couple specs that I've been running and help you out with some gearing of the character, which stats to get in which locations, and which stats are going to be more viable for your character. So let's take a look at the gear first. So the gear here, I found these shoulders, has max roll on dexterity, which is awesome, perfect roll there. Now, they're not the greatest shoulders in the world, but they do have dexterity, vitality, resistance. You can even get life percent if you'd like to, or armor on shoulders, and that's going to max those shoulders out for you. Even if you're getting rare shoulders, you can still get similar. You can still get the same stats and everything like that than like this item right here in particular. And speaking of rare items, I use this to replace my Mempo. It was a little bit of damage increase, my crit Mempo, but it also gave me a huge toughness increase, because you want to focus on dexterity, vitality, crit chance, and a socket for that life percent in there. Vitality is a very strong thing in the beginning of an expansion, or the beginning of Diablo 3. It was the same thing. Vitality was very strong, and it is also very strong in the beginning of Reaper of Souls. Not to say that resistance and armor aren't important. They definitely are important. But in this specific type of situation, this is what you want to go for. Now, also another situation of that, dexterity, vitality, crit chance, crit damage. You want to focus on crit chance and crit damage the most right off the bat, because attack speed is something that's nice to have, but I see it as like a secondary multiplier. Now, for certain classes, like the CM Wizard back in the day, attack speed was very important because you had to get a lot of those hits in. But on the Demon Hunter, especially this spec, it's all about burst damage, and in order to get burst damage, you want that crit chance and a crit damage. So try and focus on that in as many areas as possible. We also have the gloves. Now, I did get Trifecta here. It's a good place that you can get Trifecta pretty easily. And I got pretty lucky on the stats there. Perfect crit chance, perfect crit damage, and almost perfect attack speed. Just, 6% is the highest there as well. And then the dexterity is not too bad on the gloves. I didn't get Gloves of Worship. I haven't spent a lot of time in Act 2 yet where Gloves of Worship drops. And I may do that in the future because they are definitely awesome gloves. So now for the chest piece, yes, I'm still using a level 60 chest piece. And why is that? Well, the effective DPS. 15% increased damage from fire skills, which I use that, and also reduces resource cost from fire skills by 30%. That is crazy. I'm using Cluster Arrow with Loaded for Bear, which is 40 hatred. 30% of that is cut off, which makes it able for me to hit cluster arrows more often. So if you take a look right here, let's see, so my resource cost reduction is also 10% in my Paragons. I'll show you more of my Paragons in a minute here. I want to show you a demonstration. So I have 150 hatred, right? This normally costs 40, so how many cluster arrows could I get off in 150 normally there? So normally you're going to get like, what, 3.5, 4? You're going to get about 3.5 or 4 or something like that, through this. So it'd be like, so 80, 120, so yeah, about 3.5 you would get off normally. But I get off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, almost 7, very close to 7 there, 7. Then you do this, 8, 9, 10, almost 11, there you go. And that gives you such a huge amount of burst, which really helps out quite a bit. And I'll go more into the spec in just a minute and more into the Paragons in just a minute. I also picked up the Shrine Bracers. Now these are definitely very good because not only do they have movement speed on there, which is great for your Paragons because you don't have to put as much movement speed in here, which means you can put more dexterity, which gives you more damage. You want to focus on crit chance, vitality, and dexterity in here, and plus because they are Shrine Bracers, that's just going to increase your amount of legendaries farm per hour because you're killing more unique monsters, more elite packs and per hour, which is going to help out as well. And if you're playing with friends, make sure you let them know that you have Nemesis Bracers. Then on the belt here, that's a pretty nice belt. Strain of Ears. Now you want to focus on dexterity, vitality, resist all, and armor. You can get life percent instead of one of those resistance or armor if you want to. It really depends on what your character needs at the time. If you need more resist, go for more resist. If you need more armor, go for more armor. If you need more life percent, go for more life percent. Now, vitality is the only thing that you usually almost always want to include on your character because it doesn't have diminishing returns like resistance, like armor does from the mitigation, or a diminishing amount that you get from that. So then you have on the secondary, reduce damage from melee attacks by 28%, which it goes up to 30%. This is very useful for this spec because I can literally sit right beside the mob and just plow into him like this. And if it's a melee mob that's not using a lot of like magic or anything like that, I'm not taking very much damage, which is very good, especially with all the other stats that I have. Then on the rings here, I got 2 trifecta rings that I pretty much just found rings and then re-rolled to make sure I got trifecta. So definitely pretty decent there. And then on the pants, just your basic stats you want to go for. Dexterity, vitality, resistance, or armor, and then you get 2 sockets. And I would suggest putting 2 resistance sockets in there right in the beginning when you just hit level 70. Because, I mean, obviously if you go look at the guy right over here, and you take a look, okay, well, I'm a demon hunter, so you look and you go, wow, that's 280 dexterity. That would be amazing to have right there. But you need to farm a lot of gems in order to do that. So for the beginning, when you first start out, I would suggest going with the resistance ones because they're going to give you a bigger boost than the dexterity ones right off the bat for more survivability. The boots that I have are the illusionary boots, dexterity, vitality, resist all, and movement speed there. I could get rid of the vitality and pick up like armor or something like that, or something else if I wanted to. I could get rid of the movement speed and pick up something else if I wanted to, but this is kind of like what you want to go for. In this situation, I might even just re-roll the health globe thing to life after kill or something like that. Which is going to help with some survivability there too. But I mean, they're really nice. You move unhindered through enemies. I mean, these are items that I found in 12 hours of gameplay. So, and this is just being efficient, being aggressive, getting out there, not wasting time, chatting and blah, 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 just killing stuff and going quickly. Now, the offhand that I have, unfortunately, is just a rare, but it does have the stats that you're looking for. Dexterity, vitality, attack speed, crit chance, and hatred regen. Plus has max discipline on the secondary. That's what you're shooting for the Demon Hunter. Now, you can also shoot for things that are going to give effective DPS, like cluster arrow damage and stuff like that, but I wouldn't worry too much about that stuff in the beginning when you're first gearing up. That's more of your end game. Effective DPS is more of your end game. Right in the beginning, you're just trying to get those basic stats so you can improve your character a little bit better. But I would focus on that stuff later on because let's face it, most of this gear I'm wearing right here, I'm not going to be wearing when I have my best in slot gear, which I'll explain what that stuff is pretty soon. Then I'm also using a demon machine here. The special property on there doesn't seem very good, but the damage is okay on this. I actually found something that's better, this bow, but I need to re-roll that reduced cooldown there to try and get a socket, and then I'll probably be close to 1,000,000 damage, so that'll be pretty awesome as well. And I did find a Reign of Royal Grandeur as well, so that's going to be good for later on. And I did find, like I said earlier, a Marauder's Shoulder, which is very good too. And I'm going to explain a little bit more about the Marauders in just a minute. And as you saw in the preview of the video, when I had stuff going on in the background. I found a chest piece, and that's the one that I found. Now, yeah, great. It'd be nice to have an extra 10% toughness. It'd be nice to have an extra, 2% damage. But, for this build, I'm sticking with the Cinder Coat for now. I'll take the reduced stats to get the Cinder Coat. It's so important, and hopefully I'll find a level 70 Cinder Coat in a short while here. Let's go ahead and look over the spec, and then I'm going to talk about gearing for the end game, what you're looking towards for a Demon Hunter. So this is the spec that I use when I'm just doing like bounties, when I'm killing trash mobs, when I'm killing elites, when I'm going through where there's more than one monster, when it's not single target, when it's not a boss or anything like that. That's what I'm going for on here. So use Entangling Shot with Justice is served because it gives you more hatred. As you can see, puts it up to 6 hatred per shot instead of 3, which helps you because you don't really need to use your left click that much. Like, you rarely need to use it if you're just picking up a lot of health globes and stuff like you're supposed to be. But every once in a while you may need to use it, and especially like on the single target fights you may need to. Using Cluster Arrow loaded for Bear, which is very strong fire attack there. Using Smoke Screen with Healing Vapors because you need a way to heal yourself back up other than just health globes, other than just relying on the Templar to heal you. And I do have some life after kill, but if I had more life after kill I wouldn't use Smoke Screen. But it also is nice for getting out of like Jailer or Frozen or things like that that are kind of going to save you, and also it does give you 15% of your life back. And if you have 530k life like I do, I mean that's a decent amount of life you're getting. Now this is one, it's kind of like, and it's pretty good that it says secondary too. This is one that you can pretty much customize yourself. You don't have to use Chakram with Shriek and Cloud. I like using it because it helps me get more resources up. As they hit me, it procs my Night Stalker, which gives my discipline up more, and then I can use my preparation more. But you can switch this out for other things, and if you wanted to. And then preparation with punishment. Now, right here, you're going to take away 25 discipline and get 75 hatred, which is very strong for this build. You could also, if you wanted to as well, you could get rid of the chakram and you could pick up the bat if you wanted to for the 50 hatred, and it gives you hatred per second, which is going to help. But it is a 30-second cooldown, so you don't want to try and rely on cooldowns. You want something that's going to be good for you all the time, and this doesn't have a cooldown, so yeah. And then you have Volt with Tumble. You can use Tumble if you want to, or you can use Trail of Cinders. Now I use Trail of Cinders because it's a fire thing, so it's going to cost less for me and everything like that. So yeah, so pretty much that's pretty much it. But you can, if you don't have Cinder Coat, you can go with Tumble. Tumble works pretty well for you there. Now I'm using Archery here, so this is that's what I'm using there, and then using Blood Vengeance for getting back that hatred, also maximizing my hatred as well. So my hatred and my discipline, which works really well together. Always picking up those health globes, even if you don't need health, pick them up. I also use Night Stalker, which is something we've used for a long time now, even though it's not as strong in Reaper of Souls. And I use Ambush. Now, the reason I use Ambush on Torment 1 here is because it gives 40% additional damage to enemies above 75% health. As you saw from the clips, I was pretty much one-shotting monsters with this here. So, yeah. It definitely helps out a lot. So let me show you exactly what I would do on a single target on a boss fight. I would switch up this and go with the Wolf for the 30% damage. I switch out Chakram and go with Vengeance here with Seath. And I'd switch out Blood Vengeance because you're not really going to get much of that and go with Singled Out. Gain 25% crit hit chance against enemies who are more than 20 yards away from other enemies. So you're going against something, like Butcher, where there's no other enemies in there, you're going to do good damage. And pretty much when you pop this, and you can pretty much use your right click like crazy. And it just keeps going, yeah. I mean, that's a lot of burst damage right there over that course of time. So that's pretty much it. So those are some of the builds that you can go up with there. Now, as far as the end game, what it's looking for like a Demon Hunter, when I was in LA, I talked to the person that designed the Demon Hunter, John Yang, and I asked him, what's the end game look like for a Demon Hunter? What are your thoughts on that? He said pretty much you're going to want to go with the Marauder set, and you're going to want to try and get the companion calls all types to your side, the 4-piece there. because it's very strong. The 6-piece is very good as well too. The 6-set piece for the centuries, it can be really strong if you do it correctly. But this is stuff we're gonna test in the future. Also Cinder Coat for the chest piece, Royal Ring of Grandeur, Gloves of Worship. The weapon he said that he finds is the best is the Critter Shot that turns your elemental arrow into a hatred regener there. So I believe that's what it says on it. But yeah, that's just about it, guys. I'm going to go ahead and start up the stream after this and all that kind of stuff. And I also did get a P.O. box. People have been asking me to get a P.O. box, so in the description below will be my P.O. box information. If you have some viewer mail, some like letters or something like that you want me to read, or something like that, you can send it to that P.O. box. And I want to thank you guys for all the support. It's been really awesome making all these videos, and I'm really glad that Reaper of Souls is out now. Gonna keep cracking away on the Demon Hunter, gonna play other classes, gonna be other specs, other classes, other things, lots of Reaper of Souls coming up for you. So make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, and leave a comment right down below, because I love to read what your experience has been like so far in Reaper of Souls. Anyways, until next time, my name is Shinobi, and thanks for watching.